All right, good morning, everybody. It's Saturday, the 29th of September. Thanks for spending your Saturday morning with me or early afternoon. Today, I put together a little presentation on what to do when you hit a losing streak in the markets. And I get to ask this a lot. How do you do? What do you do? How do you fix things? What do you do? So I thought we'd try to go over some of that today. Go over market sentiment and a few charts before we call it a day here today. I have to cut out a couple minutes early. It's Parents' Day at my daughter's college, so I do have to get down there for that. A little late as it is, but I really want to spend some time with you guys this morning. So let's jump into it. If you want to get a hold of me, the best way on Twitter at OptionsMike. You guys should be all following me there. I post tons of information and charts every Sunday up there and post videos once in a while for free. You can email me, mike@smartoptiontrading.com. And on YouTube, you can follow me at youtube.com/optionsmike. Okay. Risk disclaimer. Day trading, short-term trading, options trading, and futures trading are extremely risky undertakings. They generally are not appropriate for someone with limited capital, little or no trading experience, and no low tolerance for risk. Never execute a trade unless you can afford to and are prepared to lose your entire investment. All trading operations involve serious risks, and you can lose your entire investment. No trades are recommendations or advice, and we cannot be sued for losses of capital. All trades are for educational purposes only. Contact your broker or RIA for execution, margin, and other capital requirements. Everyone watching this presentation adheres to all disclaimers from alphashark.com and myself, Mike Pisani. Okay, that's over with. So again, today, we're going to go over what to do when trading goes wrong, right? How do you reset yourself with some different things you can do and how to try to get yourself back on track. Going to look at the market sentiment as we head into, what are we heading into, guys? It's October, and October means, besides baseball playoffs, what's October? Start. See who's awake today. Nobody's awake today. Starts the last quarter. Well, it's earnings as well, cheating, right? It also starts the final quarter of the year, right? 3 months left already. Hard to believe. Okay. May institutional flow, we'll talk about it, and then we'll go to your charts. All right, so what do you do when things go wrong, guys? And this is not the easiest thing. I know I've gotten into this situation, and I've learned over time how to reset myself. It happens to all of us. Things go wrong, right? So let's just talk about it. Things happen. Trades go bad. Setups don't work. Most people average under a 50% win streak, right? It's really about not letting it get carried away. It's about finding those names, letting them go for you, and then keeping your losers small and keeping them down. So we all find trades. We all get into trades for different reasons, and sometimes they don't work at this point. Mutual fund rebalancing is already done, David. That's done. That's taken care of. It was last week. And sometimes we get hit by news, right? You guys are all following me. You guys knew I was in EA on huge flow during this consolidation stretch, and it got halted. And the event we were playing for, we were thinking it was to be a buyout. Turned to be they halted it to lower guidance. Wow, that was a shot to the face, right? So sometimes you get that, and there's nothing you can do about stuff like that, right? You can't do anything about news and a downgrade when you're in a stock and you're looking for a move higher. I mean, anybody have that happen to you before, right? You take a trade based upon great technical setup, you hold it overnight, and you wake up the next morning, the thing's been downgraded and it's getting destroyed. That happened to me in NVIDIA at one time. Down so far that this was a couple of years ago that it was right well below my stop, and it was a huge, big loss at that point. But most oftentimes when we're starting to get a lot of failures in a row or starting to have a hard time, we're failing to recognize subtle changes in the markets. And the markets are always changing. They can be subtle. If you were paying attention this last couple of weeks, the market really hasn't been moving much, right? Trending. They've been playing individual names, a little window dressing this week into the end of the quarter. But the market is always changing and adjusting. And if you find yourself really starting to get on losing streaks and nothing's working, you're probably trying to do the same thing over that was working recently and is not working now, and the market's changed. So, here are some subtle signs for you, right? Signs that something's changed. your win-loss percentage is dropping fast. If you were winning 50 to 60% of your trades, and suddenly you're winning at down to 30 and 20%, obviously whatever was working for you is no longer working, right? At this point, it's time to, you know, go back, reevaluate, and say, what am I doing? What's going on? You're letting your losers run, and you're taking bigger and bigger losses because you keep looking at it, the chart, saying, no, this is still going to work, this is still going to work, but it's not working, right? Nothing seems to be working at that point, right? It's just not going there for you. Your losses are getting bigger, your winners are getting smaller or non-existent, and you're starting to have, this kind of reverse mentality. The mentality is keep your losses small, let your winners run. And what often starts to happen when we get on losing streaks is we do the opposite, right? We take quick profits because we're so afraid that we're going to miss out, we're going to lose them, and then we tend to stick in our losers because we're like, it's going to be okay if I just wait and I'm patient, it'll be okay. Did anybody ever get that mentality when you're trading? Right? When things start going against you and you feel like everything's going against you? Right? So I mean, it's tough. It gets very, very emotional, right? You start feeling you're getting emotionally attached to stuff, and it happens to me. So you guys are not alone. And I think if you were to ask any person that trades full time like I do, and a lot of other people that do it, it happens to them. Randall, that's to you now. I hear you. And by the way, this market this last week was very, very tough. That month's been tough. I think everybody you'd ever go out there and talk to, if you think of some of the names out there of people you follow on Twitter who are really active all the time, and I don't mind naming some of them, like Scott Redler and Trader Stewie and all these other guys, I bet you they would all say the same thing. They these things happen to them or have happened to them. They've learned how to deal with it. So it's really a matter of, this, you're not alone, okay? But these are some things we're going to talk about you can do to fix it. Something else that's a sign something's changed is you're buying the highs and you're getting stopped out at the lows. And what's happening is you're chasing candles and you're sitting in it, and then when it finds support, right, you're getting out. You're getting out of support, and the stock turns almost the instant after you sell it, right? That's another sign that something's off, right? If you start seeing these things starting to happen consistently, you need to reevaluate. You need to start taking changes, right? This happened to you guys too, right? You find yourself buying almost the high, you get a small profit, it pulls back, you feel fine with it, and it keeps going down. Next thing you know, you're selling at what should be support, and of course, what's the stock do? It holds it, right? It holds that support thing, and you're selling, you're getting out of the lows. Okay. So I have one more thing, and I'm sure I gotta believe you guys have all done this. I've done this, right? You find yourself saying the market is against me. Yep, never going to do that again, right, Brian? But how many people have said the market is against me? Or you're screaming at your computer, or you're pounding your fist on the table. Who's done that before watching the markets, right? The market's against me. Yesterday, right? Yep, right. I did it. I'll be the first to tell you in my service, I'm very transparent. I'm the only idiot that lost money on Square last week because I chased it twice on a day trade and got stopped out for 2 losses because I was chasing candles, and and I didn't realize that it was just pulling back and I was chasing it at highs. So it happens. When you find yourself saying something like this, you got to take a step back, okay? Right. We should always be not buying resistance. We should be selling resistance or leaving a runner at positions. Yeah, JP, you weren't alone. Square beat the crap out of me last week. Very angry with it. Made some money on it this week, but very angry with it last week. Which just means I'm angry at myself. Okay. So what are some things you guys can do? All right. First and foremost, gotta say this, don't trade angry. If you're a day trader especially, get up and walk away, take a walk. Go outside for 10 minutes. Get the heck out, away from the computer for a couple of minutes. Stop trying to trade at that point. Play a game. Watch a movie. Make some food. Do anything to calm yourself down and right yourself before you take another trade. Because if you're going in, your mentality is shot, right? We're all, we all trade better when we're feeling good about ourselves, right? When you're feeling bad about yourself and you're just waiting for that next thing to go wrong, you got yourself in a bad, bad position. Don't take revenge trades. That doesn't mean you can't trade the symbol again, but if a symbol just got the best of you, think twice before taking it again. Be patient. Watch the action for a little while. I can't tell this enough. If you're struggling, you're not trading well, watch the action for a bit. See what's going on. Watch to see what's happening back and forth, right? Randall cited a deer. I like that. Trading is hugely emotional. Hugely emotional. And there's no way to completely take the emotion out of trading, guys. All we can do is try our best. Right? Try our best. Okay. Next thing, study the overall markets. Look at them, take a step back, don't make trades. Look at the indexes. What are the indexes doing? Are the markets trending? Are they going sideways? Are they selling? Okay. Look at the markets, see what's going on. This is the SPY from the last month or so. The last couple, the last week, we really not, kind of just consolidated going sideways, right? So if you were trying to go long lots of positions into this, you probably were struggling this last week and a half, right? Because look at the market. The market's telling you it's not really trending. It's kind of working its way down. So are you trading against the trend of the market? Okay. Go look at the sectors. All right. Start looking at the banks, energy, biotech, utilities, transports. One of the guys in my service, his name is Chris. He's an awesome trader, does fabulous, always making money, gotten very aggressive, really learns it. He always, he's great. He looks at the heat map, right? Just a little heat map every day. FinViz has one. So here, I'll pull it up for you guys real quick. Right? Of course, it doesn't want to come up right now. There we go. Look at the heat map. What are you missing? It's showing you where they're playing that day. What's up? What's moving? What's going on? Right? Start with that. Start looking at charts in those sectors. See, is this the end of a run or the beginning of a run? Maybe there's some rotation going on out there. Yep. Sometimes we don't. We wait and we're too scared to get back in. And sometimes that's okay to take a little time off. Okay? Look for specific sectors that have momentum. The last couple weeks has been all about what, guys? Momentum names, right? The overall markets haven't been doing much lately, but what's been going on out there? I bet you guys right now could all rattle off 5 or 6 symbols they've been piling into, right? You guys could all go out there and say to me right now, oh, it was AMD, it was Apple, it was Amazon, it was Square, it was Turley, right? The pot stocks, right? Nvidia yesterday finally, but that hadn't really been going on until just recently here. But yes, yesterday. But over the last couple of weeks, they've been sticking with the same names and running them up. So you have to look to play those names when the market changes like that, or don't play. If they're too extended for you and you don't feel comfortable, just say, I recognize that the market's changed, and for whatever reason right now, they don't want to buy the whole market, so I'm going to avoid trading for now, or I'm going to do some other things. So, recognize some of these overall markets. Study the markets overall. Again, you're in a losing streak, time to reset. See what's going on. Evaluate your tactics and strategies. See what the overall market's doing. Simplify your charts. I cannot express this enough to you guys. I keep my charts pretty clean, you know that. But a lot of you guys have 5 or 6 indicators on there, and you have all these drawings and everything all over the place. When you struggle, clean your charts up. Back to basics. Take all your indicators off. You could even take everything off and just go to price action. But for me, go to clear. RSI, Bollinger Bands, and a couple moving averages. Nice and clean so you can see the price action. You can see what's going on the chart. You don't have everything being defined for you. And then get back and identify support and resistance on the names you want to play and see what you've been doing against them, right? And say, I'm going to try it off support, right? And I'm going to either sell or trim into resistance, right? Simplify your charts. Are you trying to buy the breakout and getting caught in failures and selling when it comes back to support? This is AMD, right? I don't think anybody didn't know that this was AMD, right? AMD had this huge move, And you can see this 33 area now has been an absolute bear for it, right? Cannot get a close above it, can push through briefly through the day. But if you chased any of these moves over 33, you couldn't get out. And yesterday it finally broke on news. So when you're looking at this chart, this should be telling you, what should this chart be telling you right now? Is there a play here in AMD? All right. So simplify it. Nice clean charts. That's easy to read, right? Ultimately, AMD yesterday held 30, right? And held the 21 day. So still in the game long term, just not a setup anymore, right? Off our top list here. Study your charts. Does this make sense, guys? Do you guys do any of this stuff that I'm going through? Okay. Good. Thank you. I'm good. All right. This is probably the most important thing I can tell you to do, guys. I would tell you to paper trade, but you guys are all degenerates like I am, and you're not going to paper trade. And plus, you don't have the emotion when it's a paper trade, right? Okay, you don't have the right? You don't have the emotion. You don't have the emotions involved. So go small. I cannot stress this enough. Go small. If you typically trade 10 lots of options, go to 1 or 2 for now. Okay? You can put a wider stop in place. You can take more time and you can give yourself that gift to let things work, right? If you're trading with common stock, size it down. If you're trading 1,000 or 2,000 lots on AMD at a time, bring it down to 500. Bring it down to 200. If you're trading a name like Netflix, trade it with 50 shares or 100. Don't trade big size. Give yourself the ability to keep your losses small. If you trade 100 shares of Square, trading roughly at what, $90 a share right now, you can put a $1.50 stop on it with a $150 stop loss on intraday trade, and if it works, that thing could move $5 or $6. You can do the same thing on Netflix, which moves $13 a day. So you can get really, really simple with this. Bring your size down. Paper trade, or even take a few days off. Guys, I cannot tell you how many people forget that trading is a full-time job. It's like work for all of us, right? We all do it. We're up early. We do stuff at night. We're paying attention. We're watching webinars like this. We're always learning and looking to what's going on and trying to get hindsight from people, right? Take some time off. You don't have to trade every day. You just don't. Brian, I'm with you. I can't paper trade. So but you know what? It's not a bad thing for those of us that can do it. In AMD, we'll talk about it when we go to charts. I'm actually thinking this might be a scalp to the long side on Monday morning, but we'll go from there. I don't know what it wants to do here. The semis seem to me to be set up here going into next week. We could talk about that in a minute, but we'll see how that plays out. Okay. We'll get right back. We'll get to that in the chart section. All right. So go small, guys. Go small. One option on Netflix can fly and pay you nicely. Put your goals simple. I want to put money in my pocket today. I'm going to be a green day. Whether I'm, even if it's $20 or $100, I'm going to make it a green day. Go to simple goals. Stop trying to kill the markets when you're struggling. Don't try to make it back. Go small. Build your confidence back up. Get going. Does that make sense to you guys? It sounds simple, and I cannot drill it into your heads enough because all of us try to make it back, right? I'm going to jump right back in and make it right back here on the next trade, and then we get hit again. That's the problem with paper trading, right? So that's why I'm saying go small instead. Go small. Chris, you're right, man. You're right. Okay. So whatever you do, don't just keep doing the same thing. All right? That's like, what's the definition of stupidity, right? You keep trying to do the same thing that's not working over and over again. If what you're currently been trading the way it is and it's not working all of a sudden, take a step back. Okay? Market conditions change. You either need to change with it or you need to wait until they come back. Insanity. Thank you, Chris. Better term. Right? Right? Market conditions change. You either change with those conditions or you wait for those conditions to come back. Right? Don't try to keep doing what was working. I did that. I learned this the hard way. I learned this back in 2015 to 2016 when I was killing it through 2014, and I tried to trade the same way in there, and I got my ass handed to me that year. Nasty red year. Lost a ton because I kept trying to just swing options and it wasn't working in a sideways market. So I learned. I learned the hard way, but I learned. Okay? And I just. Okay? Don't trade angry or emotional. If you're not thinking with a clear head, you're much more likely to compound your problems. Okay? So, clear head. If you're angry or you're emotional, take a break. Walk away. Do anything. Anything that gets your mind off of it and allows you to reset. And study, guys. Study, 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 study. If you're struggling, study. Find out what's going on in the markets. Reach out to people you trade with you that you know who are friendly out there, who will, chop out a conversation with you. Ask them what they think's going on. Just find that information, okay? Just find it out and take it easy. Does this make sense to you guys? Hopefully this is going to help you guys out. These are some of the things I do. So, when I got hit twice last week in the same day on Square, I got myself up and walked away from the computer for 10 minutes. Then I came back down and I glared at the computer for 10 more minutes. All right. And then meanwhile, I started recalling flow, and then I didn't take a trade for the rest of the day. You know what, guys? I do that sometimes. I'll put myself in the penalty box. Yesterday morning, I didn't feel like I was in sync with the market. I didn't take a trade yesterday. Not a single one. I know some people did. They did great. Some people I called out the AMD short and they nailed that. That was, when I was live because of the news. But I just sat there and I watched everything yesterday, and sometimes that's okay. So taking a day off from trading and not giving yourself the stress is a wonderful, wonderful thing. All right. Any questions on that? I thought that was a nice little learning topic today. Get us started and get it going here. Perfect. All right, so let's go over sentiment in the markets. Arthur, great rule. 3 bad trades in a day, stop. For your day trader, that's a great rule to make as well. As long as you don't let them be big bad ones, right? All right, let's move on to sentiment. So, Fear and Greed Index, CNN. You guys know I love to look at this stuff all the time. All right, last week it was at 75, extreme greed. In 1 week, we've come all the way down to neutral. Okay, so the sentiment's cooling off quick. What I like to, again, look at this, I look at these as contrarian indicators. When we get too pulled up, I'm getting more cautious. When we get too bared up, I'm getting more. What am I getting more? More aggressive, right? I use these as contrarian indicators. Stock twitch sentiment on the indexes. The SPY down to 52%. That makes sense. They've been selling that, right? The Q's at 73%. It's interesting. That's been dropping while the Q's has been going up. And the IWM is still at 77%. I would expect it after the action of the last week there for that to be lower. What this tells me is that the traders like us, social media traders, are still very bulled up on the IWM. They still think this thing's going to run, even though the action has been miserable over there, right? So just interesting stuff. The Q's, the SPY coming down. I mean, nobody wants to touch the SPY here at this point, which is really interesting to me. We'll talk about that when we go to the chart. The oscillators. I post these guys for people in my service every night. The NIMOT is an oscillator for the New York Stock Exchange. We're at negative 55 after yesterday. We actually bounced into that yesterday, unfortunately. We can't get a really good signal right now. It would be great to get a really nice oversold signal right down into this negative 200. We're just not getting it. That said, it's in our favor. It's not in a bad spot. It's telling us that we're in a pretty good spot here for that. The NAMOT, it tracks the NASDAQ at negative 37, also negative, also, in our favor here. All of these put ourselves in good shape. It's telling me sentiment's in a good place. It's not a great rating, but that we're in a good spot right here as we head into the first day of the month, week, and the quarter. All right, the SPY. So for me, this has the look of something that's consolidating here again ahead of earnings. We broke out to a new all-time high, right, in the month of September, and then we put a second one in here, and now we pull back into the 21-day, and we're kind of consolidating in this area. really not sure which way it wants to go, right? RSI is not hot. We have a lot of room here. Obviously, we know that that the previous all-time high is an area we want to hold. But as long as we stay up in this area and we continue to hold up in this range, it doesn't look half bad, right? It can pull all the way back to 286.70, right? Let's call it 287 at this point, and still look just fine and tag the 50-day. And whether you guys realize it or not, we haven't hit the 50-day now since all the way back, right? Way back in early summer. We had a summer rally, right? So it's been a while. We've been elevating above it, trending higher, right? Back above the blow off top of January. So the markets overall look healthy. Yep, staircase, right? Looks like a staircase. And if you keep holding the 20-day one day through this, what should you be doing here? What is this potentially a place to buy, right? If we're, when we came up, 21-day hold, 21-day hold, 21-day hold, 21-day hold, right? Since we last time that when we broke above the 50-day, we've done this every time so far. We've held the 21-day. So SPY looks healthy. The VIX. The VIX is showing absolutely no fear whatsoever. Nothing going on here, right? The only thing you need to know is when it gets below 12, it reverses. It wants to reverse back into the means. So everything below 12 is a reversion. Every time it pops up to this trend line or pops out of the Bollinger Band, it reverts back down. So you can see we have a kind of a wedge pattern developing here on it. At some point, this thing is going to explode higher, but until it does, there's nothing to do here. The Qs, guys. The Qs, the all-time high, pulled back all the way to the 50-day, and now it looks poised to try to go again as we head into earnings season, right? Took back all the moving averages. While we certainly lost this nice big trend line here, it definitely still looks fine. Held the 50-day, which it's been doing now all the way since back here. Look how far back. Every dip to the 50-day has been bought. That's right. So that dip here, this week and a half, 2 weeks of playing along the 50-day was a buying opportunity for this. So the Qs look just fine. RSI is not in any danger. IWM is the one that is a little sick. After leading all year, right, and you can see this huge move, it's been on a steady trail down, right? We've lost the 50-day at this point. Went below it and cannot retake it at this point, all right? Below all the moving averages now but the 100 and the 50-day. So just a little bit careful here. This could be a change. This could be a sign that, most of the IWM, they were playing for us because of the trade wars. There doesn't seem to be a lot of fear about further escalation in the trade wars at this point. And that's probably why it's getting hit, is they're rotating back into larger cap and big money and beta names. Okay. Institutional flow. Guys, I got to tell you right now, based upon the last 2 weeks of options and looking through my notes, there's nothing here I'm going to tell you I like. And I would tell you if there was something, and I post stuff, but other from day trading some of this stuff from a swing perspective, a lot of this flow has been kind of miserable, to say the least, right now. Nothing really good. Nothing that has my attention here, nothing that makes me really want to go out there and get it and go after it. Yeah, unusual option hasn't been working. It's been good for a day trade. It hasn't been good for swing trades, right? Okay. How do you tell rotation? What I do is you look for the sector. So no, let's just do it. You can see rotation. For me, I look for the option flow. Usually the option flow gives it away. It'll show you where they're going to play. So we're going to go to charts in a minute, but on this day, right? The call buying in the banks on this day was incredible, right? They showed they were rotating it in for at least 2 days. It gave you 2.5 day trade before it fell apart. Now look at it, right? So I mean, it was quick rotation. So I see it, for me, I see it in the option flow. I post the option flow all day long. I track it all day long. People in my service see it, and it usually is very good at telling you where they're playing that day or where they're rotating to. Also use the heat maps, the one I brought up from FinViz, another good way of looking at it to see what's going on. Okay. What else today? Education offering. Day trading off option flow. So I did a course back in the beginning of summer, and I have if you're interested in it, I'm not going to be doing it again. I have it on replay. It talks about how to use unusual option flow and how to trade and how to set up your charts and where to identify support and resistance intraday, and also on how to do swing trading with it. So we use the option flow and technical analysis to tell if this is a good spot to get in and out of a trade. And then we use the flow to say, how is the symbol reacting to the flow? Is it going up or is it going down? Is it IV going up? So this course rarely goes over and identifies how to identify momentum, how to determine technically if we're in a good spot, right? If you have an extended stock and they're sweeping it at all-time highs and it's, RSI is screaming at 90, probably not a trade you want to be taking. Talk about how to identify volume and know when to get in it, and types of option buys or sell and what to look for in activity, and also how you can use stop losses on your unusual option activity and identify where to start taking profits. So this course is about 2 hours. You can get it at alphashark.com/education if it's something you're interested in. Andrew throws in a indicator, the TOS high-low indicator, if that's something you want as well. And I'll give you a free month of my service once you send me proof of receipt that you took the class. So if it's something you're interested in, I'll post you guys the link. You can take it out. It's for $99. It's a 2-hour course. Just very good value for 2 hours. Trust me on that one. Lots and lots of information. No, so I have a service I pay. I use Trade Alert. So I get all my sales and option information through that. And then I post it on my private Twitter feed. So this is, here's an example. I'm going to pull this up for you real quick. This is what yesterday afternoon into the close looked like coming off my my private Twitter feed to my subscribers. Arthur, thank you. I'm glad you got very great value out of the course and you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. The bullets again, sure. How to identify momentum flow, right? Which is really important, right? If the last couple of weeks we were quickly able to identify days NVIDIA was in play, AMD was in play, Apple was in play, when Facebook was in play. Determine if it's a good spot or not technically. We also go over how to understand volume. Volume is so freaking important, guys. No, it's the same course. So if you already took it, I don't want you to pay for something you've already taken. You should have a copy of it, and if you don't, ask me, Arthur. I know you took it. I'll send it over to you. I don't ever want anybody paying for something they already paid for, guys. I'm not about that. Anyway, so different things here. If you're interested in signing up for me with my real-time option flow and my videos every night and what I do, you can go to smartoptiontrading.com. You'll get a look like this. Come and find out more. If you're interested in one-on-one classes, learning, and mentoring, click here. If not, click on real-time option flow, and it's a $25 introductory for the first month. And love to have you on board. We do a video every morning, talks about what I like in the markets and what setups we're looking for. And every night I do a recap video talking about what looks good and what the markets are like. I'm live for about 3 hours a day, and I do a weekly mentoring as well. Thank you. We'll do that. We do a mentoring webinar each week where we go over learning. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of getting you guys to try to sign up and buy stuff from me. Let's do some charts for a little bit, a couple minutes. How's that sound? I know you guys like to do that. Tomorrow's Sunday. What do I do every Sunday, guys? You're in. Perfect. Diamonds, yes. Tomorrow's Sunday. I watch football and post charts, so if you guys are not church, David, I pray to the church of the pigskin. I don't mean any blasphemy by that. And I was an altar boy from time I was little all the way into high school. So I can say that. All right, the diamonds. The diamonds finally broke out, Arthur. You're asking for this. Start posting symbols you want to see, by the way. here. Finally broke out. Finally starting to see some action moving forward, and starting to break out here. If long as we hold the breakout, I would remain bullish on the diamonds, this 262 level, right? As long as we stay above that, watch the industrials, the leaders, Boeing, IBM as well. Randall, you're doing the hole in one for church. I like that. I do pay for stock charts, Arthur. I pay for it because I can post these charts for you guys and put it out there easily, mark them up, and save them. So for me, the $15 a month is worth it for what I can provide you guys for my service and everything. But their free stuff works great too. So the diamonds look tight. So what else, guys? Why is the XLF? That's a great question. I wish I could answer that. For whatever reason, pick a reason. Why won't it go? I could look at this chart and say maybe because it ran way too much last year and got too aggressive. I could say that. Then again, it's given most of the move back. For whatever reason, they do not want the banks. And I wish I can give you a better reason than that, guys, other than they don't. They don't want it. And this sell-off, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row, quickly heading to oversold. I will tell you this. The banks here are just about a screaming buy, right? Just about here. But for some reason right now, they don't want them. Earnings are, when do we start earnings on the banks? The 14th, right? The 14th with first of the banks go. The first 3 banks go that morning, that Friday. So earnings generally don't move them. Is it the 12th? Okay. I thought they started on the 14th, but thank you. I believe you, Chris. Thank you very much. I haven't looked carefully at earnings dates yet, so I will trust you on that one for sure. So they don't want it. They don't want it right now. I'd stay out. What else? Abbott, ABT. That thing had a huge move this week. Nice flow came in on it. I'm looking at September. Sorry, I haven't turned my calendar over yet. Duh. Huge move. So what do you do with something like this? If you're in it, I would be taking profits. If you caught this move, you should be taking profits. Should you be initiating up here? Probably not. Let's do something here. I don't know if Abbott's ever been this high. No, right? So beautiful pattern, beautiful move. Um, you know, there's some rolling up. What institutions do, by the way, is they tend to take profits and roll up and out and try to stay with it, willing to lose what's left. For me here, very simply, this thing's really extended off the 8-day, off the 21, off the 50. If it was to go sideways and let things come up, I'd probably have interest in it for another trade, guys. But here, uh, unless I'm looking long term, I wouldn't be touching it up here. I'd be taking profits in it, and I would wait for it to consolidate. All right. Test MetLife. Oof. With the banks, the insurers, the insurers like Met and Hartford, they tend to move with the banks. So same thing, getting beaten up. That said, it's coming into a nice area of support down here. What I would watch for is you have this series of higher lows, right? Right? So I would look for to see if it held that trend line as a nice entrance split down there. Make sense? If it even gets to it. That's a heck of a reversal candle yesterday on it. Tesla. Guys, Tesla I haven't traded it since the day of the news where I made money on it. The reason being, there's too much going on with this stock. This much is clear. He's going to be out for some period of time as CEO. Whether they let him stay on in an advisory position or not is completely unclear at this point. He turned down an offer. He had a deal on the table where he could have done that, and he told him to go scratch. So at this point, they're going to go after him hard. So I don't know. So if you look at forget the daily chart, right? Oops. Now, how did I do that? Okay, sorry about that. So in the daily chart, you have a big gap now to trade against. All right, it has to get back above 271 to get any kind of interest in here and hold above it. All right, break above here. All right, this gap now got filled. This has an island bottom here, right? That had never gap is now filled, and now we have a low of 260. So your bottom line, you're looking at 250 here, and then eventually 245. If you go to a weekly chart and this thing really wants to get ugly, and it could get really ugly, guys. Um, you know, it breaks through that 245 area. I mean, you're looking at down towards 180, right? Maybe some support here, but when you look at this, there's just not a lot of support through here. It's just very choppy. Maybe 220 would be a stop area. Gets ugly quick, so we'll have to see. I don't know about that. Again, a lot of people believe in him. Well, we get numbers tomorrow night, right, on Tesla? They're just out of play. The brokers are out of trade right now for whatever reason. Cisco. Nice chart, consolidating, beautiful consolidation, move up, little cup, now a little handle. Little hot on RSI, so be a little careful, but I think it looked like it's flagging for another move if the market holds up. BRKB, Berkshire. Nice move. Played this one, made some nice money on the breakout of this level back here last month. Didn't get back into it. Nothing going on here. Just looks like it's tired. See if it holds down around 211. I would look for that to see if it can hold that. Maybe 213. Maybe 213 catches it right here. Maybe get a reversal candle off of this area. All right. I did want to go over the semis with you guys real quick before the day gets away from us here. I'll come back to everything else. Intel had big news yesterday by the interim CEO. The one thing that I hate about Intel yesterday, and that really bugged me, was that on Intel yesterday, there was no long-term call buying. The only long-term call buying that came in was tied to stock, right? So that was just nothing there. So when I look at this chart, guys, I want to see some continuation. The news is that they feel like they're in good shape. Everything's great. And basically, they're putting another $1 billion into CapEx. All right. So you got a break of a steep downtrend here. If this can get going, right, this has room to run ahead of earnings, right? Earnings are coming. So what I would do with this one, I would just keep my eyes on it. If it starts to go, take something in it. This name had great guidance after earnings last earnings season, and it got beat up anyway. So I'd like to see if this one can get going. I like that one a lot. The other name that woke up on this on Friday was Micron. Right? Micron trying to wake up. First close above the 8-day now in a while. See if it can get going here. Their buyback is kicking in now. 1.9 billion to buy back this quarter. We'll see if this one wants to get going. That's going to provide a nice little floor here. So the fact that it's been holding here, it's pretty good at this point to me. Good sign that it's holding in here at this point. The other ones you can keep an eye on was AMAT had buying. I don't like this name. This name has faked me out way too many times. Every time it looks good, it pulls. So I'd be careful with this one. And then let's just talk AMD because I know you guys, and I'll do LRCX. So AMD here, to me, here, if you look closely, you had a reversal candle on this day. That's when I sold and I got out. You had a reversal candle on Thursday, and it was starting to clear above that on Thursday, and then it got hit with the news. Okay? The Intel news was deemed to be bad for AMD. How bad is it? I don't know. I don't think it really means anything. I think it was a good excuse to sell the name and take some profits. If it holds the 21-day and it holds this 30 area, it remains in the game for a move higher with a better price entry than trying to chase this thing at 33. So keep your eyes on it. If it keeps above this, I would give it a shot. I felt like it was overdone yesterday. I got to be honest with you. Big time overdone. LRCX. Um, like the rest of them, I don't. To me, Chris, it's out of play. It's going to take earnings to wake this up. Some really good earnings at this point. It's kind of the same thing there, right? Not getting itself going. Um, yeah. All right. What else can we do? Let's do. You want to see Home Depot versus Lowe? Home Depot I haven't looked at since the hurricane pulled back to the 21-day, still holding above this area. As long as it holds above 202, it remains in the, let's call it here, 203, remains in the game for a move. If it holds the 21-day, it's very bullish as we head into earnings. Lowe had an upgrade yesterday and call buying on it yesterday, the day before. Did not react well to that upgrade. Notice it sold on that news. They sold that news yesterday. So I'd be looking for another move down here with this, or maybe not quite ready to go any further. What else? Oh, LED. Let's take a look at that one. Just cannot really get any power here. Another one in that sector. And, trying. Um, Got to wait for some Apple sales numbers will probably be something that helps move this one, Chris. I don't know. Not much call buying into it lately. Not much going on with it. Fill this gap, got above the 200-day, but it really can't hold, and now back below, and just not acting special at this point. Yeah, 21 EMA is one of mine. I talk about that in the course I gave you guys, Kai. I go over everything I use and why I use it and why I like it. But for me, I like the 21 EMA. It's a point of whether a stock has momentum or not. Google. Google's trying to get back up here. You had this big sell-off, and now you're getting this curl rally as we come into earnings season. Clearing everything. Next hurdle is the 50-day, and then it can start to run. There's been some nice call buying on this one, which doesn't see it very often lately. So I'd keep my eye on this name. If tech is strong and it's going to run, this is one of my go-to names at this point. Amazon, I don't know what to say about Amazon other than that's one of the anointed ones, right? They bought this thing again every day. They bought it back up here. This thing's way overdue for a rest. Did you know it's now one of the most shorted names on the Nasdaq? It's more shorted than Tesla. Everybody's expecting a pullback, and it doesn't give it. Netflix. Boy, made money on this one this week, but this name is frustrating everybody. So this is a real easy one, guys, for me. What I love about this name right now, you have a series of higher lows, right? You can see it nice and clear, this uptrend, and you have this resistance area that we popped above and we couldn't take it, right? So you have a rising wedge into this. If we get through there, what do you have over here? It's a gap, right? So everybody's looking for it and it didn't give it. If this was to touch this trend line and hold, I would try it again. I do think this name reports earliest earnings. I do know are the 16th in this name. It's the first tech name to report. I do think it's going to try to run before earnings as long as the markets don't sell. So I'd keep an eye on this one. I like this setup here a lot. I'm just not in it now over the weekend, but I may go. It's on my list for Monday. Cron. Yeah. You're playing with fire with these things, right? Just so you know. Jerry. From a technical perspective, here was your previous high, right? Broke above it, cannot hold it. So to me, it's a little weak here. It's a little bit concerning that we can't hold it. Look at the volume. So it's in play here, right? 400. Yeah, Chris, I don't like to put the numbers on it, but I like that. I like that number a lot. FYI. Wink, wink. um, So this. So I don't know. It's holding the 21 day. It's in the game here for me for a move higher. A little bit of call buying and a little bit of put buying this week too. It needs volume to get going here. Right now, it's just at a play. It looks like it's resting here. Nvidia, I gotta tell you, this one I didn't chase it yesterday, and I'm really mad I did. I made money on this a couple times in the last 2 weeks, last week and a half, chasing those upgrades, and it sold off every time. And then it gets another point upgrade, and this time it goes. Evercore, 400 price target. Bye bye. See ya. Gone. So what do we do with this here? Beautiful candle, nice power. Here's your all-time high at 385. It does look like it wants it. I've been pounding the table that I think at some point this thing sees 300 since back early this year. And I think it's going to get there probably sooner than later at this point. That is a nice volume candle, right? Look at the volume. They came back for it. Poor Citron. It depends. Upgrades, different funds have different power on different names. Some funds have bigger weighting on a name than others. They follow it short better, or they're considered to be more knowledgeable in it. That's why sometimes you get some names get a bigger upgrade than others. They move them than others. Honest answer. All right, guys. Thank you very much for spending your Saturday early morning or afternoon with me. I hope you enjoyed this time together today. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go see my daughter. Square? What do you want me to say about Square? Last one, Square. For you, Arthur, Square. Square, all-time highs, hot, hit 100. I would look for a little resistance. A friend of mine says when a stock goes from 80 to 100, it usually quickly goes from 100 to 120. So I would look for some type of little bit of rest here, and then I would go after it. You're asking my site is smartoptiontrading.com. I'll send it to you all again. And the answer's there. I appreciate it. Not today in option flow. There was just nothing I wanted to go over. Sometimes I go over option flow big time, and other times I don't. See you, Randall. Look forward to having you guys there. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Get rest. I'm going to turn the markets off. I'll do charts tomorrow, so add options Mike on Twitter, and have a good one. Thanks, guys.